Welcome to Live Daf, your online Daf Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem, welcome back. Today's Daf is Kesubos Ayin. We are holding on the 7th line from the top of the Amud. Tzanan Hasam, we have learned in a Mishnah over there in Maseches Gittin. Hapa'utais, we have these youngsters. Rashi says perhaps 8 or 9-year-olds, well, all depending on their sharpness of mind. So we have youngsters pre-bar mitzvah. Can they buy and sell? Let's say, he's a yasam, no father. He needs to look after himself. Can they get involved in transactions? Answer is yes. Mekchan, mekach, umemkar, mekar, mecher. If they buy, it's a purchase. If they sell, it is considered a legally binding sale, provided b'metatalin, we're speaking about movable objects as opposed to karka. And the reason for this is because otherwise nobody would trust them, nobody would get involved in selling or buying from them, and how are they going to look after themselves and tend to their needs? So the Chachamim said, if they buy and sell metatalim, it's a legal transaction. But when it comes to karka, Rashi points this out, by karka, it doesn't work until either he becomes an adult or 20 years old. Amar Rafram, lo yishanu. This ability to sell metatalim is only el she'ein neshama apotropos. If there is no apotropos, there was no caretaker appointed by the departed father or bezdin, so then they have to fend for themselves. They can buy and sell. Aval yesh shama apotropos. Suppose there is an apotropos on the scene, it's his business. Ein mekchan mekach ve'ein memkaran merka. Then they have no power to buy and sell, because he is going to look after them. Mimai, how do you know this is true? Midiktani, take a look at our Mishnah. There's a story of a father who allocated some funds for his daughter upon her marriage. He gave it to a shlish. In the meantime, he gave it to a third party, a shlish. It's called a shlish because of a lashon shalish. He's the third party, right? There's the giver, the receiver, and the third party was like the bank. He's holding on to the money in the meantime. Mishnah says, well, if she wants to take the money from him to do it, whatever she chooses, he can't give it to her. Right? If she's a ktana, ein mas ktana klum, the shlish must hold on to those funds and follow instructions. So there you go. When there is a caretaker on the scene, we don't allow the minor, the child, to get involved. Asks the Gemara, well, maybe there's a difference between the case in the Mishnah where it's a shlish who was actually appointed and instructed with very specific instructions, as opposed to a general apotropos who's just a general caretaker. Vidilma, perhaps, hey, when there's a shlish, shani, it's totally different. But here we're speaking about apotropos, and Rashi points out an apotropos is meant to look after them and provide for their needs. And after all, that's all the kid is trying to do. He's trying to sell things to provide for himself. So perhaps that is compatible with the apotropos' charter, so to speak. Responds the Gemara, if that were so, if your distinction was indeed true, im kain listening, then the Mishnah should just say, aval bektana, yaseh shalish mashu slash biyadai. Mishnah should say, well, if she's just a ktana, then the fellow who's holding on to the money, the shlish, he has to follow instruction. He has to wait until she's up to it, until she marries, and buy the karka for her sake. But instead of using that type of lashon, what does the Mishnah say? The Mishnah states it unequivocally. Mai ein masek tana klum. Why does the Mishnah state it in such absolute terms? You should know if she's a ktana, she has no say in the matter. Shma mina afilu ba'am. The Mishnah, by using this stern language, is indicating to us that under all circumstances, whether the fellow is a shalish or even just a general caretaker, apotropos, the ktana doesn't get involved. Rather, he relies on the apotropos and his good services. Hadron Allah mitzias isha. Continues the Mishnah. Hamader is ishtoi milahana isloi. This fellow made a nether. Dear wife, you can't have any anoah from me. Nothing. Now, the Mishnah and the Gemara will focus on provisions, mezoines, parnasa. We're not speaking about physical interaction at this point, which is a different sugya which we discussed in the previous parak. But here we're speaking about whether or not she can get mezainis from him. After all, he made a neder, you can't have anything from me. So what's the halacha? Ad lamed yom yamid parnas. Up until 30 days, we allow for some, temporary leeway. You can have a parnas, you can appoint a middleman, so to speak, to provide for her. Yosir mikan, past 30 days, it's not going to be a good arrangement. And therefore, Yoitziv eating ksuba, he must divorce and pay the ksuba. Rabbi Yehuda, what depends? Be Yisrael. If he's a Yisrael who can technically remarry his divorcee, then we give them less leeway. Chodesh echad yakayim, if it's within a month, okay, hold on to her. Ushnayim, but if it's within the second month, it's past a month. You've overdone it. You've overstepped your boundaries. Yoitziv eating ksuba, divorce and give the ksuba. That's because it's a Yisrael. But by a kohen, where we want to give him one last chance. We want to give him some more time to reconsider, because once it's done, it's over with, right? So we stretch it for another month. If it's merely 2 months, okay, we allow him to maintain this arrangement. But if it's past 2 months into the third, you must divorce and give the ksuba. Here's another example. But in this case, she was the one who made the neder. So explains the Gemara. She made the neder and he was mekayim the neder. He refused to interfere and to annul the neder. So he sort of confirmed the neder. Hamadar is ishtai shloi titoim echad mikol haperes. So she has a neder to refrain from a certain type of fruit, which makes her life difficult and restrictive. So in this case, yoitziv eating ksuba, immediately he has to divorce and give the ksuba. Why over here do we not give him a 30-day grace period? So the Rishonim say, because, in the first case, he made a neder against her. So he was mad at her and he made a neder. So she understands where he's coming from. She gives him a 30-day grace period until he can reconsider. But here, she was the one who made the neder and he confirmed it. So there's no anger, there's no animosity, there's no situation which triggered it on his part. Why did he allow it? Why did he confirm it? Oh, apparently he dislikes me. And he doesn't mind that I live with these restrictions. So now in this case, if he doesn't take care of it right away, it creates animosity, it's unfair to her, and he has to divorce her. Yoitziv eating ksuba. Again, Rabbi Yehuda comes and makes that distinction between a kohen and a Yisrael. Rabbi Yehuda be Yisrael, if it's just the Eishes Yisrael, we give it a very short grace period. Yom echad yakayim. For 1 day they're still okay, but shnayim, it's past the day. Yoitziv eating ksuba. Ubekayin, we give it an extra day. With just 2 days, shnayim yakayim, we can hold on to her. But shleisha, if it's already into the third day, yoitziv eating ksuba. Here's another example. Amadeus ishtoi shletis kashet beechad mikol haminin. So again, she made the neder, he confirmed. I will not adorn myself, I will not use a specific type of cosmetic. Yoitziv eating ksuba, divorce and give the ksuba. He makes that distinction between a poor person and a wealthy person. Ba'aniyos, if she's poor, so in any case she's not really accustomed to using these items. Shilanos on kitzpah, over there, it's only an issue if he left it open-ended. He did not give it a time frame. That makes it just unreasonable and difficult to bear. Uba shirois shloshim yom. If she's wealthy and accustomed to this type of lifestyle, in this case, up to 30 days. Asks the Gemara, back to the first halach. He made a neder, you can't receive any support from me, any mezonis. A husband cannot do that. He's already meshubad. He's already committed to it. And that precedes his neder. Since he's committed to providing for her needs, what business does he have making a neder? It doesn't catch. Does he have the ability to override his pre-existing commitment to look after her needs? We have a Mishnah which indicates otherwise. She's the one making the neder. And what I produce, all my income, you can't have. Don't worry about it. He doesn't have to interfere because Alma apparently, since she's committed, she's meshubah to provide, to bring income. Lav kol kimina de mafkale l'shibudei. She has no koyach to undo that shibud. So the neder is not chal, it doesn't catch at all. Hachanami as well in the husband's case. Kiva de meshubada, since he is committed to provide her needs, lav kol kimine de mafkale l'shibuda. He has no ability to override that commitment. Second, the neder be activated at all in this case. Ella says the Gemara, I'll give you the teretz. There's a girsa Amri. In any case, the answer is like this. Since a husband has theoretically has the koyach, he has the ability to tell her like this. Let's cancel the entire arrangement. You know what? Instead of giving me your income and I give you benzainis, let's call it fair and square. You apply your income to your mezainis. What you earn, you eat. So since he has that ability, he can do that. So in this case, when he makes a neder, it's as though he is offering her that arrangement. He is rearranging the marriage. It's as if he tells her, take your income, apply it to your mezainis, leave me out of it. The very fact that he made that neder, that you have to stick to yourself, you have to support yourself, he's pretty much indicating, take your income and use it. So in this case, he's no longer committed. If she's providing income, so he has to give her mezainis. But if they rearrange that commitment, no more income to me, you keep your income, then he can just absolve himself from his mezainis. Asks the Gemara, well, in the other case as well, let's say she's the one making a neder against him. I can't support you. Why doesn't it work? The same can apply there. She can disengage from him financially. If it is so, that we follow Rav Huna Marav's halacha, that just as husband can disengage financially, the wife can do so as well. The Amar of Huna, in the name of Amarav, a wife can turn to her husband and say, I don't need your mezainis, and I don't need to give you my income. I'll live on my own. So she can do that. So why in the case of whatever I produce should be a neder, should be usher to you? We say, don't worry about it, because she's committed. Why doesn't he have to interfere and nullify? Because she's committed. She's not committed. Lema, we can apply the same rationale there as well. So since she has that ability to say, look, I skip your mezainis, and you leave my masiyah dying with me, let's disengage financially. Since she can do that, so when she makes that neder, it's as if she said it. When she says, look, Rabbi, don't have anything from me. It's a neder. In effect, she's really saying, I don't need your favors, and you don't need mine. I'll keep my masiyah daim and feed myself. So in that case, it should work. Ella says the Gemara, rather, let's tweak it a bit. Loi tema nasa, instead of an assumption that we assume the fact that he makes the neder, it's as though he said, let's disengage. That doesn't work. We don't make assumptions. Ella Imrala was speaking that he actually said that. The Mishnah is speaking about a very specific case. He said, I am not feeding you because you'll keep your mezainis. Okay? So he said, keep your masiyah daim, buy your own mezainis. It's a very specific case. So this case is an exception. He's no longer meshubed, he's no longer committed. He has the ability to make a neder, and she has to keep away from his mezainis. Asks the Gemara, well, that's a perfect arrangement. If that's the case, why does he have to get a parnos? Mishnah spoke about appointing a caretaker to provide for her needs. What do you mean? She's earning a nice income. I'm not committed anymore. Yachi parnos lamala. Answer is b'loi sapka. Her earnings don't suffice, don't provide for her needs. Well, ibid loi sapka. If that's the case, and she doesn't have enough from her earnings, we're back to square one. He's committed. Yachi Sorry, Ibid Loi Safka, Hadar Kusha Naduchte. The kasha is back to its place, meaning he's committed to provide, so he can't make an eder. Amar Rav Ashi was speaking with Mesapekes. Her income suffices to provide for Ledvarim Gdolim, her main primary needs, her basic foods. Ve'ena Mesapekes Ledvarim Ktanim, but her income doesn't provide adequate income for the accessories, the extra foods that she'd like. So he has to have a parnas for that. Asks the Gemara. Well, again, let's analyze what's going on. What do you mean the extra supplemental foods? Either regilabu, she's accustomed to it from home. Her regilabu, she's accustomed, and he has to provide. It's a basic chiyuv to provide for his wife's lifestyle. If she's not accustomed to these foods, parnas lamale. So again, why does he have to have a parnas looking after that? So it's either all in or all out. What's the middle ground here? Like Tzricha apparently was speaking the regila beveis nasha. She was accustomed to these extra foods back at home. What happened was she married this fellow who could not really afford, so she was willing to share his lifestyle, to be megalgal, meaning just to come along with him and share whatever he has. So she allowed herself to a downgrade, right? She stepped down, but she's only willing to do that when he's being nice to her. The Amarle, she turns to him and says, "Look, until this point, while we were happily married, the loya dartam, before you made this vicious neder against me, gagilna ba'adach, I was perfectly fine with living according to your standards. Galgilna ba'adach, but hashta dartam, now that you made this neder against me, loy matzina de galgal ba'adach, I'm unwilling to drop down to your lifestyle. I'm no longer really sharing your life, so you have to provide for my needs according to my standards, which is your obligation." So Tosfos asks, well, if that's the case, if he's committed, then again the kasha is, how could he make a neder if she doesn't have what she needs? So he says that when he made the neder, at that point, he was not yet committed to the extras. Right? Picture it this way: she was living with him. She was okay with his standards. Right? So everything's good so far. Now he gets up and makes a neder. At the point of that neder, when he expressed that neder, she was still okay. The switch took place right then. At that point, she's no longer happy with his lifestyle, right? Because the neder creates that distance. At that point, the new chiyuv triggers. He has to pay for the extra stuff, so he has to make that parnas to provide for the extra needs. But the neder was chal. The neder does catch, because her maseh daim suffices for her basic needs, which she was okay with until then. But once he makes the neder, at this point suddenly she needs more. She wants to go back to her parents' lifestyle. Oh, so for that he needs a parnas. Asks the Gemara, but then why does the Mishnah set a 30-day limit? We say up until 30 days this arrangement works. So again, the masir dain that she produces provides her mezainis, but the extras she gets from the parnas, but only until 30 days. Why? Answers the Gemara, look, up until 30 days, the word is not out yet. People don't know about this peculiar arrangement between these two. It's not embarrassing for her. It's not yet known, so she's willing to live with it. But past 30 days, shami ba'inshi, so talk of the town. It's embarrassing for her that she's being supported by a middleman, and therefore she's unwilling to go along with it. You have to address it properly. Divorce, and step up to the plate. There's going to be another teres ta'al kash. Again, the kasha was, how could he even make this neder to begin with? He's committed to her mezainis. The answer is, she'idira kashi arusa. The nether took place while they were only engaged. At that point, minat Torah, he doesn't have to feed her. So the nether is chal. Asks the Gemara, well, then why does he have to have this parnos arrangement? He's totally potter from mezainis. At that early point, arusa mi islam mezainis. Since one's an arusa, get mezainis from the chasan. Answer is shigia zman of loinis. So what happened was the wedding date arrived and he refused to marry. So you have to look after her midrabanan. This nan higia zman of loinisu. The wedding date arrives and there's no marriage. Oichlis mishaloi, oichlis betruma. He feeds her truma if he's a kohen. Asks the Gemara, Umay shno shleishim yom. But now the question is, if they're not even married, then the whole point of the shame and embarrassment doesn't really apply. They're not married. He's not really meant to provide for her. If anything, he's going to give her through a third party. That's fine. It's acceptable. It's fine. It's nothing wrong with that. So why do we set a 30-day limit in this case? According to this teretz, why is it limited to 30 days? Answer is the assumption is that this middleman who's providing for her, he wasn't really hired for the job, right? The Gemara will tell us it was some sort of volunteer, service that he's doing. So up until 30 days, he'll just he'll give the mezainis, assuming that he'll get paid at the end of the day. But past 30 days, that's already a large investment. There's no way to guarantee that the shliach will follow through and provide for her needs. So it's not really a practical arrangement, and it can't be relied upon. So according to this teretz, what happened was the nether took place while they were still engaged, in which case he's not yet committed minat Torah to provide for her needs. So the nether is chal, but only up until 30 days. Here comes the third teretz, from which the Gemara will fall away. The third teretz is sheidira kashiarusa. What happened was he made the nether while they were engaged. So now it works because he's not yet committed to her mezainis. Venisis, and then she married. Oh. So although currently he is chayiv in her mezainis minat Torah, but it's too late. The nether was already activated during the engagement period. It preceded his chayiv mezainis, so it holds on. It holds up. Asks the Gemara, why would there be a problem at all in this case? Why do we give him a 30-day limit? In this case, if she married with this arrangement, with this understanding in mind, her savra v'kibla, she was fully aware, fully cognizant, and she accepted this arrangement. Why does he have to provide for her? Why does he have to make a parnos? The answer is the Amr, because she'll say, I thought I can live with it. Because svura ani sha'ani yechayl l'kabel. I thought, that this can work for me. But achshav ein ani yechayl l'kabel. Now I realize that it's not practical. I can't live with this. Asks the Gemara. What kind of argument is that? Eimer damrin hachi. When do we find this type of argument? Gabi mumin. Anisha has a blemish. So look, he says, I thought I can live with it. Now I see I can't. It's something which fluctuates, right? It's a mindset which can fluctuate. But when it comes to a person's basic provisions, his basic needs, how could you apply this idea? Either you can live with it or you can't. There are no surprises, nothing unknown about it. If you accepted it while you were an arusa, live with it. How can you come around and change your mind? Apparently the correct approach is the previous terutzim, as we explained before. Right? The kasha was, how could he make a nether? He's committed to her mezainis. We had one teretz. He disengaged. He said, look, you keep your income, you buy your mezainis. The second teretz was, he made the nether while they were still engaged, which preceded the chiv mezainis minater. But ad shloshim yom yamid parnas, he has to be reasonable, get a fellow to provide for her needs. Asks the Gemara, well, didn't he make a nether? She can't have anything from him. By appointing a parnas, you're defeating the purpose. You're working against yourself. Or parnas lav shluchis ha'kavod. Isn't the parnas performing for the husband? He's a shliach. He's an emissary. Shlucha shaladam k'maisay. It says, the husband is providing. Amar Huna. Boimer. What happens is he gets up and says, Kalazon einei mafsid. He announces as follows: whoever provides for my wife, he won't lose. So there's a veiled, hint here. Provide for her, and I'll compensate you for your expenses. So as long as he doesn't directly instruct, go give my wife and I will pay you, he's not really circumventing the neder. So he's not really a shliach. He's sort of taking the initiative, knowing that, most probably the husband will pay me back. That's what we said, it only lasts for 30 days, but the person's not willing to go past that. Asks the Gemara, but that's also considered a shliach. You're doing it, in my service. Even if he's going to do it in this way, isn't it doing a shlichus for him? He's doing it on behalf of the husband. Listen to this Mishnah. The Mishnah in Gittin. We find that even a hint, a veiled hint, is considered a shliach. A fellow was lying in a pit. He calls out, he's speaking in third person. Whoever hears his voice, meaning whoever hears my voice, should write a get to my wife. If you hear that announcement, write the get and give it to his wife. So even though he didn't personally instruct the sefer, which is typical procedure, standard procedure, you have to appoint a sefer, he just made this sort of general, anonymous announcement. It works. Apparently, whoever is following this fellow's instruction is considered doing a shlichus. He's doing it on his behalf, even though he wasn't personally instructed. Answer is, Hachi Hashta, how do you compare? Hasam Ka'amar Yichtav. There, he specifically instructed, whoever hears my voice, write. Hacham Ka'amar Yazon. In our case, is he then saying, provide for my wife? He's not saying that. Kol Hazan Ka'amar. He's just saying, whoever provides for my wife, lucky fellow. That is not called a shliach. Asks the Gemara, but it is. V'amar v'ami. B'dleika. If lo yaleinu on Shabbos, there's a fire burning throughout the home. Hitiru leima kala machabe einei mafsid. Chachamim say, it's a desperate situation. He might go ahead and actually put out the fire because he's so agitated about losing his property. So the Chachamim provided a special provision, a special heter. You can get up and say, it's directed at the non-Jews. Whoever puts out the fire won't lose. He'll be compensated handsomely. Right? So even though he didn't personally instruct any specific person, because he didn't personally instruct a person, it's mutter. Right? Now the diuk is bidleika. Only during a dleika, during a fire, this would be mutter due to the extenuating circumstance. Lamutima as opposed to what? Where is it not mutter? Even if it's just a generic, general declaration. Apparently we're coming to exclude a different type of isser in the Torah, like a neder. Even speaking in such general terms would be asr. Lai l'muti shari surim de Shabbos. Answers the Gemara, no. When it comes to any isser like neder, etc., other than Shabbos, which has extra severity, Shabbos carries misa, etc. So over there by Shabbos, we don't want to get into issues of malacha. We try to steer clear of anything that's close to a malacha. But when it comes to other types of isurim like neder, like an Al Mishnah, this type of announcement is perfectly acceptable. And we don't consider that person to be your shliach. Mosiv Rabbi, here comes a kash. There's a Mishnah Maseches Nedarim as follows. Hamudar no mechaver. So Shimon is meant to keep his distance from Reuven. Reuven made a neder. To Shimon, you can't enjoy anything of mine. Shimon is totally destitute, nothing to eat. And Reuven has rachmanas on him. He wants to provide for him, but he can't. His neder prevents him from doing so. So what's the solution? Reuven approaches his local grocer, Haragel Etzlai, by whom he's a regular customer. He tells him like this: I have a problem with my neighbor. Shimon over here, there's a neder between us. What should I do for him? I'm stuck. His friendly grocer gets the hint. Who knows and provides for Shimon. And he comes and takes back, gets paid from Reuven. Says the Gemara, Hachi hu shari. Apparently, only this type of arrangement is mutter, because keep in mind, Reuven didn't utter a word of instruction to the grocer. He just told him about the story. I have an issue with Shimon, and you figure out what to do. Aval kol hazon eini mafsid. But let's say he would have been more specific, to make an announcement and say, whoever provides Shimon with his needs will be handsomely compensated. That he can't do. Lo, that's not allowed. That's a shliach. That's a kasha ta'al Mishnah. The answer is the loy. Loy miboy kamar. The Mishnah was just employing a method of loy miboy. Needless to say, it goes without saying. Loy miboy. It goes without saying that kol hazon eini mafsid. Announcing, whoever provides will not lose. The la'al mukama, which is an anonymous, general announcement to nobody in specific. Certainly in that case it's acceptable, it's perfectly fine. Aval hai, but this situation where he's approaching a person, a grocer, even the regular esle, since he's a regular customer there, then he goes and tells him about the story, perhaps it's a little bit too much direct. Perhaps it's as though he directly tells him, you give him, you give him dummy. It's compared to that, no, there's no concern. And it goes without saying, of course, of course, a general shout into the dark. Whoever provides is okay. Whoever provides will not lose. Whoever provides will be compensated. That certainly is okay. So once we're on the topic of this Mishnah, the Gemara will elaborate further. Gufa, let's go back to that Mishnah, which gives us several variations of this halach. So in the first case we have Hamudah Nama Chaveira, right? Shimon had a neder from Reuven, Ve'en lo ma'yochel, Shimon is stuck, nothing to eat, Hoylech etzel chaveni, Haragel etzle, Reuven approaches his grocer, Ra'im lo yishpleini Mudar Nami Meni, I have a problem with Shimon. Ve'en yedeh ma'aseli, I am stuck, don't know how to take care of him, and the grocer gets the hint, Hunais and Lo, provides Shimon with his needs, Ubav and Mazen comes and gets paid from Reuven. Next example is, Be'isei Livnais, Shimon has to build his home. Ugdeir Ligdar, has to mend his fence. V'sadei Ligtzar, harvest his field. And he's stuck, he can't provide for himself, and Reuven wants to look after him. Problem is, Shimon cannot have an anah from Reuven. So once again, he makes some sort of roundabout arrangement. Reuven approaches his loyal workers, and tells them, look, Shimon and me don't get along. I don't know how to take care of him. And they get the hint. So the workers harvest Shimon's field, and they get paid from Reuven. They take their wages from Reuven. A third example, Reuven and Shimon are traveling together. Shimon is totally destitute, nothing to eat. Reuven, who has an abundance of food, he takes some of his extra food, gives it to a third party, to Levi, as a gift. So now it's totally Levi's. And Shimon accepts from Levi v'muter, and this is totally fine. Let's say there is no Levi walking with them, it's just Reuven and Shimon. How does he transfer from Reuven to Shimon? He takes his food, puts it on the rock, or gather on a stone fence, and he declares as follows: look, this food here is totally hefker. It's ownerless. I'm absolving my ownership. Anybody can come take it. It's like on Erev Pesach when you're mafker, kol chamira v'chamira libata will have a hefker, totally hefker. By the way, Taisus in Psachim asks, how can you make hefker? Hefker needs to have 3 people. As the Gemara in the Duran tells us, hefker b'fnei shloisha. So he says that's only midrabbanan. Rabbanan required 3 people to make it more, serious and formal. But minatora, you don't have to have people around you. So in this case as well, he says it's hefker. Now he's no longer the owner. And Shimon can pick up the food and eat it. Rabbi Yehuda, he says this is not a proper arrangement. Amarava, my time with Rabbi Yehuda, what's wrong? And we're concerned about this leading to another situation called the Masa Beis Chayrim, which is discussed in the Dharam. A fellow was in a fight with his father. He made a neder, and his father couldn't have any anah from the son. It came time to marry off the son's son. He wanted his father to attend. So he walks over to a friend of his and he says, look, all the wedding provisions, anything in that wedding hall is totally yours so that my father can come join us. So he specified, it's yours in order that my father comes and join us, indicating that he's not really giving it away wholeheartedly to the stranger. In that case, it doesn't work because it's still Reuven's, from which his father cannot have no. That's called Masa, which took place in Beis Chayrin. So Rabbi says any sort of pseudo-legal circumvention is problematic because it might lead to that situation where it's really not a gift. So even in this case where technically it is a gift or it's a hefker, so Shimon can really take it, but concerned that it might lead to a situation where it's not acceptable and therefore we make it us. Okay, so what do we learn today? We started with the halacha putos, the youngsters who would like to buy and sell. But metalton, we say it works, and there's a takanas chachamim, so that people should look after him and be willing to deal with him, which would enable them to provide for themselves. But if there is a fellow who is appointed as an administrator, a shlish, or a petropos, then he's the caretaker, and they shouldn't have anything to do with their assets. Talking about a yasim, right? Now, a fellow who made a neder against his wife, you can't have anah from me. So we give him a 30-day grace period, throughout which he has a parnas, which provides for her. And the Gemara asked the kasha, well, he's meshubad, how could he even get this neder off the ground? Two ritzim we provided. Either we're speaking that he's not meshubad because he allowed her to keep her income, so he no longer provides for her mezainis. On the second teretz of the Gemara, he made the neder before marriage, while he was not yet chayev in mezainis minat Torah. We have the second and third case in the Mishnah that she made a neder against having peiros or the tachshitin, and he was mekayim the neder. In both cases, according to Tanakama, he has to attend to this immediately, otherwise absolve the marriage, according to Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Yossi in the second case. It all depends if he's a Kayin or Yisrael. By the Kayin, we give him some more time to reconsider. Okay, until 30 days with the mezainis, he has to have a parnas to provide. While the parnas is doing his shlichus, the answer is he's not, because he's just offering his services technically free of charge, because the husband just made this declaration, whoever goes and provides will not lose. So this fellow is not really technically a shliach, and therefore it is a mutter. We went into the Mishnah Nadarim, a similar situation where Reuven and Shimon are meant to stay away, but Reuven wants to provide for Shimon. So we have three cases: either the Chavani looks after him, or the workers, or in the case where they're traveling. So he makes some sort of arrangement. In the case where there's nobody's around, he can make it a hefker, and that allows for Shimon to access that food without any concerns. Hatzlacha Rabba and B'suras Tevis.